Hey, welcome back, everybody. It's time once again for Closing the Wealth Gap. The one show, maybe the only show that shows you how to close the wealth gap in your own life with the man who's done it for many, our wealth coach himself, Tyrone French. Hey, Tyrone.
Hey, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Closing the Wealth Gap. I'm your host, Tyrone French. I'm glad that you tuned in. Got a very special show today, but before I get into that, I would like for you guys to go to my website, tyronefrench.com, and download my free app. Matter of fact, if you want to stay in touch with me and get the latest and greatest on financial and wealth coaching, go get my free app. It has calculators, articles, videos, and that by the time we have our conversation, you pretty much know exactly how you want to set certain things up. And then it's my job just to point you in the right direction, just make sure everything runs smoothly. That being said, I have two very special guests today. One of them, I've been trying to get her out the house for I don't know how long. It's my daughter, Jasmine French.
Hi, Dad.
Hi, Jasmine. Now, I call her Nikki, but we recently added another name to your title.
Not officially, but yes.
Jasmine Nicole French Velasco.
Yes.
Yeah, I love my young son-in-law. He's actually in the Navy right now, following in my footsteps. And my second guest, I've been knowing this guy forever. I call him my big brother. And met this guy back in the 80s on Guam. I love him to death. He's got a wealth of knowledge that we're going to share today. But his name is Rick Putman. Rick, how you doing today, buddy?
Man, I am blessed to be above ground. Loving it. Fine Navy day.
Yes, sir. This guy has a smile that won't quit. Matter of fact, I think Magic Johnson got his smile from Rick Putman. You need to trademark that, buddy. Yes, sir.
Thank you very much.
So, today we're going to be talking about, Guam. A lot of people have never heard about Guam. That's one of the reasons why I got my daughter here and Rick, because my daughter is getting ready to follow in her dad's footsteps and waiting for a ticket to go to Guam. So how do you feel about that?
It's exciting. Very intimidating, but very exciting at the same time.
Why intimidating?
It's a big change, especially when you're from the mainland. You know, you're so used to California, and then you're going to a tiny little island that nobody really knows about. Usually you say, I'm going to Guam. It's like, where? What? So, it's cool.
Well, you know what? You have the same apprehension that most people have, because when I first got my orders and I saw Guam, it was almost like my stomach sunk into the floor, because again, I'd never heard of Guam. But I'm telling you, it's one of the best experiences that I've ever had in my life, and the people that I met over there, like Rick, the relationships are just priceless. So, Rick, tell me, what was it like when you found out you were first going to Guam?
Well, actually, I'm one of those weird ones that requested to go to Guam, because I was I had just come back in the Navy. So
okay.
How it happened was that I was an aviation electronics technician, and they were offering reenlistment bonuses of like $16,000, etc.
And that was a lot of money back then.
In 1982, it was definitely a lot of money. But I had become, I was in fear of becoming complacent.
Okay.
So I always wanted to become an attorney. I wanted to further my education. So I wanted to get out and go matriculate and apply for law school and the works. And then when I got back to New York, I found a great job. And it doesn't sound like a lot now, but I came in the door at $13 an hour. And in 1982, that was decent money. I was fresh out of the military, but I was working as like a longshoreman on the piers in New York on the docks.
Okay.
And I'm a native New Yorker, but I've been out in Cali for the past 4 years.
Okay.
So
I remember that. I remember you were in San Diego. Yes.
Yep.
And so you requested Guam.
I did.
Now, when did you get that RX-7? This guy had a limited edition RX-7, brought it to Guam, and everybody was in awe of this car. How did you get that limited edition RX-7?
Remember I was saying that they offered a $16,000 realistic? Well, I was working, and I found myself in a position to where I was making good money, but I didn't have anybody to hang out with.
Okay.
I had changed. I can't say that the people changed.
Yes.
I had changed.
Right.
As an individual. I was no longer the same kid, the same little big head kid from Brooklyn.
Right.
I was now a big head man from Brooklyn that had traveled the world a little bit. So I was hanging out at the recruiting office to where I initially had entered the military, and there were people that I could hang out with and knew. And when I got up there, it was like a brotherhood, like our brotherhood. I was back around people that I was familiar. So on my off time, I was hanging out up there. So I got out in September. By March 9th, I was in there, and one of my buddies needed to hit his quota, and he was missing a body.
Okay.
And I was like, "Hey, Frankie, find out how much they'll give me now if I come back in." And they said they won't give me the 16, but they'd give me 8.
Okay.
So I said, "Okay, sign me up again." And I took off, and I went, and I requested Guam because it was like Hawaii. I missed some folks, and I wanted to go to Guam. So I wanted to go.
Well, let me ask you though: did you have that car shipped to Guam, or did you purchase it?
Yes.
Okay.
I got it at Moffett Field.
Okay.
So actually, this is how convenient it was when I got out to Moffett Field, and VP 31 doing the training and everything, and
right.
Immediately I was on the basketball team and everything, and in between my classes and playing basketball, I was getting rides around and this and that, and I just went into the credit union right across the street from the barracks, and I said, "Hey, I want to buy a car. I'm looking for a nice little sports car, something different." And they brought the car to the bank and said, "Hey, come on over."
But here's the thing. I want you to tell the audience, how tall are you?
6'4".
Oh my gosh.
6'4". And again, this guy's driving around in an RX-7 two-seater.
6'4", 250. So
6'4", 250.
I wasn't even a string bean.
I can't even think about getting cars like that. My husband is 6'4". And my dream car was a Mini Cooper, so that's out the door.
So you already know what it was, but that car, I shipped it there. So while I was at Moffett Field, I'm from New York. My wife is from New Jersey.
Okay.
I met her at Moffett Field. She had come out to hang with her sisters, her brother, and her sister-in-law all worked in the electronics community out there. That's right there. That's right in Silicon Valley.
Yeah. Hey, Rick, but I tell you what, I'm going somewhere with this car thing because my daughter just went through a process to where she had going through the process as far as buying a vehicle. But when Rick came to Guam and he had that limited edition RX-7, guess what happened on the base? And Rick, you know this. People started driving RX-7s all over the place, and so when it was time for me to re-enlist, and I got my re-enlistment bonus check, guess what I did? I ran straight to the Mazda dealer and bought my brand new Mazda RX-7, and we would all park them together. It was just an experience, to be young. 19 years old, 20 years old. And at the time, you're getting these re-enlistment bonuses and money is no object. So, I mean, we had the best cars. We had the best stereo equipment. We dressed well. I remember going with this guy, and we were partying in Tokyo. Remember that, Rick?
Yeah, dude.
We were partying in Tokyo, and again, it was almost like it was the best of times and it was the worst of times. But Jasmine, I want to bring you in and tell me, what was it like as far as you knowing that you had to purchase a car on Guam and going through that experience?
It was definitely a hassle, especially trying to figure out if we were going to send one of the cars over or just, end up buying one out there. Guam is kind of hard to get a lot of imports because of how far it is from the mainland.
Right.
So you really have to choose, do you want what they call it? It's called a boonie car. So do you want to buy a boonie car, or do you want to actually
Hey,
go
Rick, you remember the boonie cars?
So
boonie cars are Guam bombs.
Guam bombs.
Yeah. So my husband were looking at all these cars. It's like, we need something that's actually going to be durable. And I'm only 5'2". My husband's 6'4". So we got to find something that's compatible for both of us. And we, ironically enough, ended up getting a Mazda 2. I would love to get a Miata, but he can't fit in that. So I think we got a CX-5. Yeah, we got a CX-5.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So. Yeah. Well, nobody thought Rick could get into the RX-7 either until it was a sight to see. That you see this beautiful RX-7 pulling up, and this giant stepping out this car.
Yep.
It was amazing. Hey, so
we're talking about the stereos. Remember, we'd have those parties in the back of the barracks.
Yes, yeah, he was. Rick was he was a great DJ. As a matter of fact, Rick was a part of a singing group. He's too modest to bring it up, but yeah, he's a part of a singing group, and we'd have these. I call them events because he would have these giant speakers and the turntables and I don't know what kind of amps that we were using back then, but they never blew. They never blew. I mean, just I don't care. We're cranking it and we're drinking. I don't know what the beer was at the time, but we're drinking beer and somebody would show up with some food, and we'd be out there just having an impromptu club.
Our own fiestas.
Our own fiestas. Hey, so Rick, let me tell you this because I know we don't have a whole lot of time. But I know you transitioned from the military. You retired and you started working in the car industry as far as dealers. Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, I kind of stumbled upon it in all honesty because I had I live in D.C. and Virginia now, and my first foray into getting into cars was when we did a swap. We came from California to D.C.
Okay.
Because I was thinking that it was flooded and inundated with Silicon Valley out there, so I came to this side.
Okay.
And instead of getting on, I worked for the Department of Education here for a minute, and then I found myself at a car dealership, and I wound up working at Rosenthal Group selling. Guess what? Mazdas.
But I'm just saying, everything has a Genesis, man. And I know you sold Genesis cars, so no pun intended.
Oh, yeah.
But everything has a Genesis, man. But go ahead.
Oh, and then when I got over to Germany, and as soon as I got to Germany, there was a BMW dealership literally right outside the gate to where you can walk.
Okay.
And so I went to work for them. And then because I had just worked briefly for the BMW dealership here called BMW of Fairfax. And once I got to Germany and I went and applied for the gig and I got it instantly.
Yes.
That started me into the car business. So
but let me ask you this, because I'm going to take it back just a little bit. Back in Guam and even in the States, especially like here in California, what were all the officers driving at the time?
Nissan.
But a lot of them were driving Porsches and BMWs.
Oh yeah. That of course.
They were driving Porsches and BMWs. And so guess what? I'm just going to take a wild guess, but do you have a BMW?
Now?
Did you have a BMW?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
In Germany? Yeah.
And I drive
535.
I drive BMWs. And our good friend Thomas White, he's got a Porsche right now. He calls it Ghost. So I'm just saying, a lot of the stuff that happened to us when we were teenagers and when we grew up, we started emulating that same lifestyle, man.
Oh yeah, I actually had the car that I traded in for my G90 right now was a BMW. It was a M5.
Yes.
Black on black M5. And you see my black on black Genesis G90 out here now.
Yes.
But, yeah, I replaced it with the Beamer, replaced the Beamer with it because of the fact that I in Germany, what I did learn was the difference between BMW and Mercedes. BMW is performance and Mercedes is luxury.
Right.
And what I found in Genesis is the combination of both.
Yes.
So
let me ask you this.
Work for them, I submerged.
Let me ask you this, because this it goes back to a lot of people on active duty military or even reservists, but more so active duty military. A lot of times when they purchase a vehicle, they have to decide whether or not they want to buy the car, outright, or if they want to lease the vehicle. And for a lot of these young people, that's a major decision. Do I lease or do I buy? Can you just briefly talk about the different scenarios? So my daughter went through the same thing. They ended up purchasing a vehicle, but they also had an option to buy. They ended up purchasing the vehicle, but they also had an option to lease. But I got a nephew right now that's getting ready to go to OCS, and he opted to lease and not buy. So give me just a small synopsis of when it's good to buy and when it's good to lease, especially when you're talking about active duty military.
All right. So being active duty military, I would say it's more advantageous to lease.
Okay.
And I will tell you why. And especially if you're in the military and you're deploying and you're not putting the mileage on it. Now, if you're driving from base to base and doing back and forth and all that, then leasing isn't a good pliable option.
Okay.
All right. And the reason that I say that is because leasing is like renting the vehicle.
Yes.
And you're getting to try it out to see if you like it. Initially, as a younger man, I wasn't a proponent of leasing because I was of the mindset, which everyone is these days, of I want it to be mine. I don't want it to belong to them. I don't want to use it and it's still their car.
Right.
Well, alert, when you finance, it's still their car.
Yes. It's like being a homeowner.
Yeah. Until you get the title, it's there.
That's right.
So the thing with leasing is you have an opportunity to evaluate the vehicle, so to speak.
Yes.
You have an opportunity to drive it, see how it performs. They see how it works in gas mileage, because you know that with the BMWs, it's recommended that you use premium fuel.
Yes, exactly.
And in most instances, it's not even recommended; it's required.
Yes, for the warranty.
Oh yeah, for the warranty. So for me, now at this age, I would wholeheartedly suggest leasing.
Okay. Now, Jasmine, I'm going to bring you in here real quick, because you guys, again, you had the same decision. Do you lease or do you buy? What made you move towards buying versus leasing?
It was mainly just because with his contract, we're supposed to be there for about the next 3 or 4 years.
Yes.
So we're going to be, basically sitting there for a while. And the plan is when that contract ends to hopefully move maybe into San Diego or whatever base we end up in.
Right.
At least we can actually get that shipped out.
Right.
And at least we have that option now of owning the car. With us owning the car, we can either trade it in, keep that car, go get another car at least. But it's mainly just the fact that we're going to be there for such a long time.
And you're going to be driving a lot.
Yeah.
And putting mileage on the car.
Yeah, and he doesn't have to worry about, when it comes to the deployments, of me jumping from base to base, because it's just me and Guam.
Right. I'm going to make sure my nephew, I'm going to go ahead and give him a shout out, D'Angelo Whitehead. Like I said, he just leased the vehicle. It was a Honda. And for him, it was the best decision. As a matter of fact, even the dealership told him, just based on him, like what you just said, Rick, being getting ready to deploy, that leasing for him was a better option. But again, a lot of service people they make the same decision, and sometimes they make a mistake just based on not understanding and not having all the variables, not having all the facts. And so sometimes, again, they buy when they should have leased, and then they lease when they should have bought.
Especially when you go on the ships and you have all those cars waiting by the docks.
Yes.
Especially for the deployment, you have so many cars that are just left there.
Yes. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, so Rick, we're gonna pivot just a little bit, and we're gonna talk about again the camaraderie, because some of the guys we met on Guam, we're still friends to this day. I mean, some of these guys are just, they're just, we're brothers. We're going to be brothers forever. Yes. And, we have a reunion coming up, and I want you to go ahead and give a shout out to the group and talk about the reunion, the genesis of it, and what's going to take place, because I know you're going to be the host here in Virginia. So I'm going to give you the floor, and let's talk about how we created that brotherhood back in the 80s, and it's still going strong today.
Well, I received a phone call back in 2017, and it was a young man that I liked and admired a lot. And he told me that there were 3 other young men that I liked and admired, and that y'all had gotten together and said, yo, you know what? We need to get together. And one phone call led to another, led to another, led to another. And
yes.
Mr. French, we call him either Mr. French or Frenchie. Mr. French assembled all of us.
Some of the guys call me Mr. Howell, though.
Yeah, Mr. Howell. Now that's Howell the Third.
Yeah, that's dating me back Gilligan's Islands, but we'll that's another show.
And so we started, and we missed 1 year due to the COVID.
Right.
And I missed the year that we had in Vegas because I had just gotten promoted to manager at Genesis. So I was, and I actually made a point to tell my GM after that, I won't miss another one.
Yeah.
I appreciate it and thank you for the promotion, but I won't miss another event. So I missed that one in Vegas. And I've been ducking and dodging. I was content with just dropping off my money and showing up at the events and meeting my brothers, and we break bread and do all of the stuff. Like I said, sit around and tell sea stories.
Yes.
And finally, it got hit to me. They wanted to do it in Memphis, so I just moved here. I just celebrated my 1 year anniversary. I literally moved here on my birthday.
Congratulations!
June 7th of last year.
And it's a brand new. It's a brand new house, though, right?
Yeah, brand new house. Had it built.
Yes.
And so we moved up here. We still got our place down in Mississippi. Our son is living there.
Okay.
So,
hey, Rick, did you use your VA when you purchased your home?
Oh yeah, both.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, getting back to like that course where I wanted to stay in the military and retire, but I wanted to aspire to do more.
Yes.
I didn't want to become complacent, because what I saw in the military was some people become complacent.
Yes.
They just want to do their 20, retire, blah, blah, blah. I had greater aspirations. And then I wound up realizing that was the dumbest damn thing I ever done. I should have kept my butt there.
Hey, hindsight is
I'd have one more check.
Hindsight is 20/20.
I know, but I also say I didn't do too bad, because my next door neighbor in Mississippi is Admiral Vincent Smith, and he was the commander of the Enterprise and a few things up in Millington, and so
yes.
I figured I didn't do too badly, and
no, you didn't.
That was all with help with my wife and everybody. We came together, but I see that I got off track. But we were talking about the camaraderie. So the camaraderie came about because, matter of fact, of those of us that are getting together in this reunion
yes.
is coming up. The host is me, Al, Red, and Francis. These are all our shipmates.
From Guam.
We all were married on Guam.
Wow.
And we're all still married except for Red.
Wow.
And we're all going to be together at this event. Like I said, they kept trying to tag me to do Memphis, but I didn't want it to be in Memphis. I didn't want to be responsible for, people's cars getting broken into,
right,
or stuff like that, because at that particular time, it was, things had started to take a change in Memphis. So I didn't want to bring my brothers down there and have anybody have anything. You know, I lived there. If something, my car got broken into, which it did, my wife's did at one time.
Yeah.
You know, it's okay. It's costing me living there, but I don't want to invite the people that I love to come there to celebrate. And while we celebrate, they're in there partying with at the club with your hat and clothes on.
Yeah. Because if you're the host, you're going to be on the hook.
Yep, you're on the hook. So,
hey, Rick, real quick.
Yep.
You mentioned I'm going to acquiesce just a little bit about being retired, not getting that retirement check from the Navy. But you know, last time I checked, you're doing pretty well as far as your disability rating with the military. So let me ask you, and you don't have to put this out in the street. But you do have a disability rating. Is that correct?
100%.
Right on time, man.
Yeah, they told me, we don't know why you never put in anything for your needs. Every command that you ever been with, you were on basketball teams,
yes.
And your needs were, you always had something going on with it.
Right.
And, at one of the evals, so I got on the phone with Al, and he told me what to do in terms of
secondaries.
Yes. Bilateral.
Yes.
Look, this is no exaggeration. This is why one of the reasons I'm glad that we did this, because when we first met the first time, you remember this?
I remember.
I had 50%. I was only at 50%, and I just gotten to 60%.
Yes.
We got there. There were a bunch of brothers. There were one or two that had 100%. Al had nothing.
Right.
Nothing,
I remember that.
Zero.
And I had nothing. I had nothing. And again, don't just say zero, because when you have nothing, you're below zero.
Yeah. We had no rating.
Right.
Zip. All right. So he started. We shared information, because we were all a part of what happened at VQ-1 with Commander. You know what I'm talking about.
Right.
Our CO's plane went missing, and we were all part of a detachment and all of that.
Yeah.
So it was like, yo, do you remember this right here? Yeah. And he was a part of it too. And next thing you know, long story short, I'm at my doctor's office, and I've gotten up to 90%, and he called me.
Okay.
And I told my doctor, I said, hey, this is my frat brother. I just got to tell him I'll call him back after this. I said, hey, man, I'm in here getting my semi-annual and at the VA. And he said, 100%. Click. And hung up the phone. Right? I came out of there. I called him. He said, I was telling you, he passed me. He had nothing when we first met in 2017.
Right.
In 2025. He beat me to 100%, and that was 2024.
Yeah,
and he helped me. It got to the point to when it got to my last part of, I was at 90%, and he got me another 20%. He told me what to do.
Right.
He got on the phone with my VSO, the person that puts it in.
Yes.
He's telling my VSO.
Yes. Yeah. But that's
what to do,
and
that got me there.
And that's a part of the brotherhood, man. Because again, a lot of us within the group are 100%. And again, I was headstrong when we first started. I didn't want to go through the process. It's like for me, it was a waste of time. It took a forced Master Chief Petty Officer to pull me to the side and tell me, "Hey, French, you know what? It's really not the compensation; it's the designation." And when I realized and started searching the benefits and having that designation, that's when I became on board. And for me, it's been life changing, man. Just having those resources that's available, because again, it's not an entitlement, it's not a handout, it's part of a contract. And you sign that contract on the dotted line, and you are the government is responsible for fulfilling that contract. And let me tell you another story too, man, because I was on the USS Ranger when we lost. It was a crew of 8 people. We lost 7 of them, and was one survivor. And Another
I know
friend.
exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, and we had a friend of ours, Terry Smith, and before he left, he was a yeoman, administrative. He was a yeoman. He did administrative work, and but before he left, and again, he's 19 years old, and what he did was he had a fiance back in Detroit, and he was going to marry this girl. And so what he did was he decided to make her the beneficiary on his life insurance policy, thinking that he had a whole lifetime ahead of him. Well, he was one of the people that was killed when the plane crashed. And so this girl that was 19 years old, she got a check at the time. Back in the day, it was like $50,000. Now, that was a lot of money back in the 80s. It was a life insurance policy. And I remember this vividly, where the mother called the command, saying, hey, not only did you give this girl this check, but she's buying cars and jewelry and all this other stuff. And they had to explain to her there's nothing that they could do about it because she was the beneficiary of the policy. And fast forward, I became an insurance agent. And one of the things that I stress with all of my clients is to make sure that your beneficiary statements are up to date, not just your life insurance policies, but your IRAs, your 401ks, even your bank accounts. A lot of times you don't want to have joint hold accounts jointly because somebody else has access to that money. But you can definitely make sure on your beneficiary statement that money is going to a family member or a close friend. And we got another associate, David Bibbs. When he recently passed away, we had discussions based on, hey, just making sure your estate was taken care of, so that when he did pass away, his family was able to just take that death certificate to the bank, and they released those funds, released them immediately. A lot of people end up having to go through probate just because they didn't have that information. Now, Rick, I'm going to pivot because you mentioned something about in the beginning we didn't have. Some people didn't have zero, nothing. But there is a 0% disability rating. And sometimes a lot of veterans are upset because they get that 0% rating. And I tell them, hey, no, that's a gold mine. Because what it does is opens the door for you to get back on the military base and use all of the recreation facilities that they have on the base, even the commissaries, the exchange, even the gas stations. And a lot of times, again, you're talking about making purchases that are very inexpensive, but then you're not paying any tax. And also, one of the things that a 0% rating will give you is based on secondary ratings. So you may have 0% for hearing loss or 0% for PTSD, but that 0% can turn into a 50% if you have sleep apnea.
Well, it gets upgraded. What it is you can always go up. They can't take anything less.
Exactly. It will go up.
It's something that you can do.
Yes.
But
my point is, a lot of veterans think that because you have a 0% rating and there's no compensation with that, there are still benefits, and then it opens the door because what the military is saying is that you have a service connected disability, and they will honor that. So now when you can go to the VA and be treated for that particular ailment, but it opens the door for secondary, so you can literally get to 100%. 100% disability rating by starting out with a 0% rating.
Yes, but what I would also like to say on that one is, okay, with your 0%, once you get to a total and permanent, the 0%, all right, they're nice there, but the total and permanent, once you're there, you're cool, but like you get stipends for some because there's some like GERD or ED or any of those. It's rated at a 0, but you still get like a monthly stipend for it. So it's a 0 on there, but you're still getting paid for it. Now, in terms of like the free medical and stuff like that.
No, hey Rick, one thing though, it's not compensatory. 0% is not compensatory. So what that means is that there's no compensation with it, but it again, it's a gateway into other ratings to whereas you can receive that compensation. But what it does, like I said, it opens up other benefits to whereas you have access to the VA.
But there are certain ones that you do get paid for. Like I said, if you have
Now, are you talking about the SMC? Are you talking about the SMC, right?
What I'm talking about is that we have different things within there as well, that they're rated at 0, but you still get paid. There is a stipend they give you. So hold on, let me. I'm gonna Google up something right now.
No, don't worry about it. That's something because again, this is new to me. So what we'll do, because we're running out of time right now.
Look, that's why I wanted to bring it up, because you kept saying that, and it's like, well, no, there are 0 ratings that you still get paid for.
Okay.
And one is ED. The other one is GERD. They don't do like a 10% or anything like that. This is 0%, but you get like $170 a month. Or
you know what?
That's
right. And again, and I'm glad you brought that up, because again, ED is erectile dysfunction. It is a 0%, but you're compensated like I guess right now it's like $150 or something like that.
I think so. Yeah. There might be a little bit more.
Okay. Absolutely. Yep. So again, you know what? We're gonna wind up. Paul, my producer, he just kind of
hitting that rap.
Yeah, he kind of put his hands at his throat, telling me, it's time to wrap this up. But Jasmine, I'm gonna bring you in before we go. Again, how do you feel about the transition that you're gonna make as far as going to Guam and being a military spouse, being a military wife?
I mean, I feel like I was already preparing for it since Anthony, my husband, had joined us for one of your guys' reunions.
Yes.
And we actually went on your ship and we toured it and everything, and we introduced him to the base. Mind you, I've been on the bases since I was a kid. That's nothing new to me. But for a civilian going on the base, it's like, oh my gosh, like there's no taxes on stuff. And he's a power lifter, so he's looking at all the protein powders and stuff, and he's like, this is discounted?
The gym. Remember the look on his face when he went to the gym?
Oh my gosh, the Olympian grades stuff. He was like, yeah, I gotta join.
Yeah.
So I could see the gears turning in his head. So I'm like, yep, I gotta prepare.
Yes.
Seeing my mom and hearing your guys' stories, especially because I know you guys met on Guam too.
Right.
So just listening to just the lifestyle that you guys had and the ups and downs of it. You kind of already mentally prepare because you're already exposed to that. Obviously the military is a lot different from, the 80s to now. There's a lot of different changes with, the commands and how they do things now.
Right.
So you think you're going in with, with the guidebook, but, sometimes they just completely, flip the script on you.
Right.
So especially just trying to get out there too. It's like, with his boot camp and stuff, I had to go to and from, Chicago for the whole entire year.
Yes.
All over Great Lakes, great mistakes that people will say. But, just supporting him has definitely been something. I feel like it gives me a better appreciation for spouses.
Yes.
Because a lot of people don't say, the spouses serve good. Really, they do.
They do.
You got to be the rock for your active duty people.
Yes.
Because they go through a lot behind closed doors, especially on the ships, whatever they're doing, the deployments. It's a lot.
Yeah, the entire family serves.
Yeah.
And if I can just interject one thing, again, you're listening to this show and you're on active duty military or you're a reservist, make sure that your spouse has a power of attorney.
Mm-hmm.
Because when that service member, male or female, when they deploy, the spouse is the one that's holding down the forward and the back. Mm-hmm. In the rear. And so you just need to make sure that you have your documentation in place to whereas you won't miss a beat.
Yeah.
And I'm glad you mentioned the ship, because the ship that we toured was the USS Midway in San Diego. Yes. And Rick, I got to tell you, my son-in-law made the decision to join the Navy, not just the base, but also the reunion in San Diego. When he saw the camaraderie from guys that were 19, 20 years old, around his age, that were still had that closeness, even though we got canes and walking with a limp and bent over. It was just something that it touched him in a way to whereas he said, Mr. French, I'm thinking about joining the Navy. And we had a conversation. I said, well, I don't want to try to influence you, but it would be a good decision. And he followed through. And like I said, he's on Guam right now, waiting for his lovely wife to join him. And they're looking forward to starting their life.
Yep.
Hey, check this out. I got one thing I'd like to add in closing.
Yes, sir.
Remember when you started, you said, who asked to go to Guam?
Yes.
So my wife did, because she was a civilian when I met her. And she joined the Navy and got guaranteed orders to Guam. And when she got there, I said, what are your intentions? And she said, "You marrying me?" She
Smart
said
woman.
it there right now. 4 kids and 5 grandkids later.
Well, I tell you, Lori, she's definitely the general. Like you said, 4 kids and how many grandkids? 5 grandkids?
5 grandkids.
Yeah. And Lori, I mean, it's his wife. She's just an angel, sweetest person you ever want to meet. But she has that, when you say backbone, oh my God, she's got a
Yeah, I was getting ready to say, y'all, she done had dog food for years.
Yeah, military life is not for the weak.
It is not for the weak.
There's been so many times.
She's harder than me. She done swung on me before. I'm like, yo.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? I tell you what, we're gonna wrap this up, and I enjoyed the conversation. And Rick, you know what? You got an open invitation to do this again, buddy. And again, I wanted my daughter on here because she just got her orders and she's waiting for her ticket, and she's gonna be moving transition to Guam. So I just wanted to bring her in the studio and I have this conversation with a really good friend and a brother of mine. And like I said, man, you got open invitation. You can come back. And again, this is the episode of Closing the Wealth Gap that I am absolutely going to cherish. So until next time, this is Tyrone French, and we are closing the Wealth Gap.
Half a day.
Have a day.
That's our show for this week. Closing the Wealth Gap. The one show, the only show that shows you how to take control of your financial future. Right here in Orange County's only community radio station, OCTalkRadio.net.